Hello, everybody, and I would like to thank my wonderful subscribers.
Hello, everybody, and welcome to another Mr. Nightmare reaction. And today we are going to be watching. I actually don't know. I'm checking. The issue is it's really hard to keep a count because unlike SML videos, these are really weirdly organized. Three disturbing true hidden Tamla horror stories. I am 85% sure I haven't seen that one. I feel like Hidden Tamla is a very unique topic, and that I would definitely remember a Hidden Tamla video. Okay, so yeah. Put it on 100 and yet check this out. I should really make the list of all the ones I've seen. Hidden Tamla horror stories. Story 1 by Dave.
I was 22 when this happened.
Okay.
At the time, I had just graduated college, I was between jobs, and doing odd work around my small town.
Okay.
Like babysitting, cleaning houses, running errands, basically anything that paid cash.
Yeah,
A woman I'd
work
dog
for
sat for in the
hire.
past recommended me to a friend of her neighbors, a man named Craig. He
Okay.
called me one afternoon and explained he'd be traveling for a week and needed
And
someone
you
to
want
stay in his
to
house
watch
to
the
look after
house.
his golden retriever, Max.
Aw, you
He said
doggy.
Max was an anxious dog who did best with someone actually staying overnight rather than just
Okay.
coming by to feed him. And the pay he offered was a little more than usual,
Yeah.
so I agreed.
It's just a
I
dog.
met Craig 2 days later. He was in his late 40s, tall, wearing wire-rimmed glasses and a windbreaker.
Okay.
Nothing about him seemed strange at first.
That's how it
Maybe a
happened.
little overly friendly, but not creepy.
Yeah.
His house was on the edge of town, tucked back in a wooded area. The
Nice.
place itself was nice, but a little dated, like with beige carpets and floral curtains.
Okay.
Craig walked me through everything. How often to let Max out, where the spare key was, which fridge items I could use. He told me I could stay in the guest bedroom,
Okay.
which was right off the living room on the first floor. I started the job on a Monday.
A Monday.
The first 2 nights were normal. I watched TV in the living room, then took Max on his evening walks, and then slept in the guest room with him curled up at the foot of the bed.
Aw.
It was the third night
He's a
when
cute
things
little
went wrong.
pupper.
I had been sitting on the bed, scrolling through my phone,
Yeah?
and I noticed something odd.
What? A
On the
Tamla?
dresser across from the bed, next to a small lamp, was a digital alarm clock.
Oh.
I remembered thinking it didn't match the rest of the room. It
Well,
was
I
newer
mean-
looking, black plastic with a bright blue LED display,
I mean,
but everything else in the room looked
time
like it belonged
is
in the early
important.
2000s. I don't know what made me look closer.
What?
Maybe it was the way the light from the lamp hit the front of it. But as I leaned in,
What?
I noticed a small, perfectly round black pinhole above the numbers.
Oh.
At first, I thought it was just a sensor.
Yeah.
But then I noticed the angle.
What do
The
you
tiny
mean?
hole was pointed directly at the bed.
I
My
mean-
stomach dropped. I'd read stories about hidden cameras and alarm clocks before, but I'd never actually seen one in person.
You don't know
My
it.
mind started racing. I picked it up, and it was heavier than I expected.
Yeah?
There was a faint buzzing sound inside, like a tiny
Ooh.
fan.
Okay.
I turned it toward me and stared right into the pinhole.
Why?
That was when Max, who had been lying by the door, suddenly lifted his head and
Why?
started whining. From somewhere else in the house, not the front door, but deeper inside, I heard the unmistakable sound of a door closing.
Shit!
Every hair on my body stood up.
What did that
Craig
mean?
wasn't supposed to be back until Sunday, and it was only Wednesday night.
Well, what did this mean?
I froze, holding the clock in my hands. My heart pounding so hard it almost hurt.
Yeah, no,
Then I
lock
heard
the
slow
door.
footsteps on the hallway carpet.
Lock the door.
I quickly set the clock back down and moved to the door, locking it just as the footsteps stopped outside.
Okay.
Then Craig's voice came through, calm but slightly out of breath.
What?
He was saying he had left something in there the last time he was home and needed me to open the door.
Why are you
I
here?
couldn't speak. A moment later, he said it wasn't what I thought, claiming it was a motion sensor for the dog and that he hadn't wanted to freak me out by mentioning it.
Why?
I backed away from the door, my hand over my mouth. He told me to come out and that we would talk like adults.
No.
But when I didn't respond, his knocking turned into pounding. He
Why?
yelled at me to open the door, with his voice no longer calm, but sharp and angry. Max started barking and jumping at the door, which only made Craig sound more agitated. I glanced at the window, which was low enough to the ground to climb out, but
Okay.
it was locked.
Well,
So I
open
fumbled
it.
with the hatch, my hand shaking so badly it took me 3 tries to open it. Behind me, Craig was still pounding,
Shit.
now shouting that if I didn't open the door, he would get the key to the room and call the cops and tell them I broke into his house.
You have a key?
I didn't wait to hear more. I shoved the window open, climbed out awkwardly, and dropped onto the grass outside. Max scrambled after me, his nails clicking on the window ledge.
Why?
But he ultimately gave up and didn't jump out.
Okay.
I ran through the side yard
Puppies
and down
are
the gravel
confusing.
driveway until I reached the road. My phone was in my pocket, and I called my mom, who lived 15 minutes away.
Yeah.
I told her to come get me right now. By the time she pulled up, I was hiding behind a cluster of mailboxes.
Flipping
Craig's house
crazy.
was nowhere in sight from that spot, but I kept looking over my shoulder. I stayed at my mom's for the rest of the night. The next morning, I blocked Craig's number and called a lawyer. The lawyer said that without physical proof,
Yeah.
like a recording of the camera or the device itself, pressing charges would be difficult.
Yeah.
Even if the clock was a hidden camera, Craig could claim it was a harmless motion sensor, and without evidence, it would be my word against his.
Yeah. Also, like, I don't think it's illegal, right? Like, all he has to say is, oh, hey, it's my house. I'm allowed to know what happened at my house. Because technically, like, everybody has a Ring doorbell to, like, check what happens. And, like, the Ring doorbell doesn't just show your, like, front door. It also shows the neighborhood. So it's not, like, filming anybody who goes near your door is illegal. And, you know, technically, like, well, it is messed up. Yeah, he did film you, maybe. He did film you, maybe. Like, it's his room. And you're just sitting in it. The weirdest part is that, 1, it was pointed at the bed. 2, it was hidden like it was. And 3, I actually don't remember. Are you a woman? No, wait. What was your name? Are you a boy? I don't remember. I kind of just assumed that. But, okay, yeah. Yeah, keep going.
I wanted to go back and take a picture of it,
Yeah.
but my lawyer strongly advised against returning to the house alone.
How would you do
The idea
that?
of seeing Craig again made my skin crawl.
Yeah.
So, nothing happened to him. I never got paid for the 3 nights I stayed there.
You should
The
have.
woman who had recommended me to him stopped responding to my messages.
Wow.
I never found out if she knew anything about him.
We'll never
For weeks
know.
afterward, I had nightmares about waking up to see a camera lens watching me from across the room.
Oh,
I
God.
started checking every clock, smoke
In
detector,
your
and
house?
picture frame in my own apartment. And I still think about that moment I looked into that little black lens and the sound of the door closing somewhere behind me in a house I thought was empty.
Yeah.
Which says to me, he may have been in the house the whole time, watching me through that camera.
Yeah. You know, he may have been watching you the whole time, and the reason why he, like, the door opened is because he was, like, I don't know, he was, like, in a room, and when he saw you look into the camera eye, he thought, oh, I have to tell her, I have to, like, okay, Dave, like, I have to make sure this woman doesn't, like, doesn't misbelieve something. You know, I can't have that. So, like, he would probably just come up and try to, like, be like, oh, hey, no, it's not what you think. That camera is just a little sensor. You know, he would probably opening the door to come and, like, talk to you. How he was going to explain why he was home, I have no idea. But that would probably like it.
Through that camera.
Through that camera. Story 2 by Ute Daily.
I I booked the Airbnb in late September, a week before my girlfriend Emma and I planned to spend a few days visiting her sister in a small town about 3 hours from where we lived. And I
Okay.
picked it because it was cheap, close enough to her sister's place, had good reviews, and looked cozy in the listing photos.
That's all you need.
An old 2-story house with a wraparound porch, warm yellow lighting in the living room, hardwood floors that gave it a kind of storybook feeling, and one small detail in the description that I didn't think much of at the
What?
time, which was a note telling guests that the basement storage room was off limits.
Well, that's
I'd stayed in
reasonable.
places where the owners kept certain areas locked. It's pretty common for them to store personal belongings somewhere, so it barely registered as important.
It
When we pulled into
isn't.
the driveway just
Not
before
yet.
sunset on the first evening, the place looked a little more weathered than in the photos. And there was something about the fact that it stood alone with only one other house in sight, a good distance away, surrounded by dark tree lines and a narrow road leading in, that it made me think twice. The host, Alan, was waiting for us on the porch before we'd even gotten out of the car. He was tall but slightly hunched, maybe in his
Ooh.
late 50s, with thin gray hair combed neatly over his head. He was dressed in a perfectly pressed flannel shirt tucked into his jeans. He smiled, but it was the kind of smile that didn't quite reach his eyes.
Ooh.
It made me think of Mr. Beast, a little too practiced.
I don't know
His
who
eyes
that
lingered
is.
on us just a bit.
I don't know who Mr. Beast is. Is that yay? Oh, Mr. Beast, yay, the YouTuber. Okay, I thought you were talking about a movie and talking about yay, the person Mr. Beast. What the heck? What a wild yay, slow. Yay, what? Yay, dang, you just threw shade on Mr. Beast there. I don't know why.
He smiled, but it was the kind of smile that didn't quite reach his eyes.
I can't identify that. Yeah, I do not have the kind of brain that processes, oh, is this person really smiling inside? Or are they just like making the movement? I don't know. How would I
It made
know?
me think of Mr. Beast, a little too practiced.
Well, yeah,
His
he's
eyes
a
lingered on us
YouTuber.
just a bit too long when we shook hands.
That's
And
the
though
job.
his voice was friendly enough, there was a subtle firmness to it when he began showing us around. He led us through the front door into a hallway that smelled faintly of dust and something sweet, almost like
Okay.
candle wax, though I didn't see any candles. The living room had a big couch facing an old television.
Maybe those are in
The
the
kitchen looked
basement.
clean but dated, and when we went upstairs, the single bedroom had a large bed under a ceiling fan and a small dresser with a mirror.
Nice.
Then, when he came back down, Alan stopped at a door near the kitchen
That's
and
the
tapped a
basement?
heavy padlock hanging from it. He told us in a more commanding tone that that door stayed locked, that it was his storage space, and that there was no reason for us to go down there for anything.
There isn't.
He didn't smile this time. He just moved on to point out where the extra towels were in the bathroom,
Okay.
before wishing us a pleasant stay and heading out the front door. After he left, Emma and I unpacked, made some tea, and sat outside on the porch for a while, listening
Why?
to crickets and the occasional rustle of leaves in the trees.
Okay.
By the time we got into bed, the quiet was almost unnerving. No traffic, no distant voices, just pure silence.
Yeah.
Sometime after midnight,
Kinda
I thought I heard a
uncomfortable.
faint, dull thud from below us. I paused and
Shit.
listened for more, but it didn't come again.
I would be
So I
worried.
told myself it was probably the house settling.
What did that
The next
mean?
morning, we got breakfast
How
in
do
town,
houses
explored a
settle?
few shops, and met up with Emma for more.
I hate when people say that houses settle. Like, what do you mean houses settle? Don't get me wrong. Things make noise sometimes. Your refrigerator does hum. Or if you're washing dishes, you'll hear the sound of the dishes. Not the dishes, but you'll hear noise. But those make sense. You have an appliance on. If you hear the sound of water, that might be from the tap. But if it's a noise or those noises aren't made by a device or a machine. They're made because something happened. If there was an earthquake and you hear a noise like this, I would be like, oh, it was the earthquake that just happened. That's why it made a noise. But houses on their own really shouldn't just make noises Oh yeah, something is happening. Okay? This house settling thing is bullshit. I guarantee whoever made up the lie that houses settle, fucking bullshit. Whoever said that was a murderer. That's it. A murderer said that. That's how they get their victims to believe noises don't exist.
But it didn't come again. So I told myself it was probably the house settling. The next morning, we got breakfast in town, explored a few shops, and met up with Emma's sister for lunch. We stayed out until just after dark, then went back to the house to make dinner and watch a movie. Around 2 in the morning, I woke up to use the bathroom. As I headed back toward the bedroom, I froze halfway up the stairs when I heard a dragging sound from the basement.
Are you gonna say that the house settling?
Across a rough floor. It lasted maybe 5 seconds. Stopped,
way too long to be a house settling.
My first thought was that maybe Alan had come back for something, but he had told us he wouldn't be around at all during our stay.
Yeah.
I stood there listening until it stopped, then went into the bedroom and asked Emma in a whisper if she was awake. She said she was, and that she heard it too.
Yeah.
We stayed awake for another half hour, but the sound didn't return.
Okay.
The second night was worse.
Why?
We'd spent the day hiking and were exhausted, but sometime around 2:30 a.m., the noises started again.
No.
Not dragging this time, but footsteps. 4 or 5 in a row.
That's not a house.
Then 3 more. Each pause lasting long enough to make me think that whoever or whatever it was listening. Emma whispered that she thought she heard breathing between the steps. My heart was pounding, but I didn't want to get up and risk making a noise. So we just lay there, eyes wide open, staring at the ceiling until morning. By the third morning, the atmosphere in the house felt different. We still went out and did touristy things, but whenever we came back, it was like a heaviness settled over the rooms.
Ew.
I decided to check the basement door during the day.
Why?
It was still locked, but when I leaned closer, I thought I could smell something faint and unpleasant. Like stale, damp air mixed with a hint of something sour.
Okay.
That night, the noises began earlier, around midnight. First came a faint metallic clinking, like metal tapping against something hard. Then the footsteps again, going on and off for nearly an hour. Emma barely spoke to me before bed. The 4th night was the breaking point. While getting ready for bed...
Man, okay, so there are 2 possibilities about what's going on. Either Alan is doing this on purpose, like he's making noises on purpose to scare you guys, or he's just really bad at not making noise. It's one or the other, okay? Like, either the noises are on purpose or they are not. And like, if they're not on purpose, he's doing a really poor job pretending to not be here.
Bed. Emma stopped brushing her hair and asked me if the smoke detector above the bed looked strange.
What do you mean?
At first, I didn't see it, but when I stood on the bed to get a closer look, I saw a small, perfectly round black dot in the middle that was shinier than the surrounding plastic. A bad feeling hit me immediately. I grabbed a chair, unscrewed the detector, and inside was a small battery-operated camera with its green light on. Emma sat on the bed pale and silent, while I searched the rest of the room and found another small lens poking through a hole in the wall near the dresser mirror.
Oh, that is sickening.
Both aimed directly at the bed.
Oh, God.
That was the end of it. We shoved our stuff into our bags without bothering to fold anything, and we left the house without speaking to the host, driving to the nearest gas station to call the police. 2 officers met us there. We explained everything, the noises, the cameras, the locked basement, and they followed us back to the house.
But the issue is that you can't prove it.
The front door was unlocked. Technically, we were still allowed in the place, as we paid for 4 days.
Yeah, I guess.
The police followed us inside and seized all the evidence, including the cameras, I assume the memory cards, and any recording equipment they could find. They also took our statement in detail, asking if any strange events took place during our stay.
Oh, we have a story to tell you.
Weird noises both nights from the basement. When we showed them the basement door, we were shocked to see that it was now wide open, but it was pitch black down there. We told them that this door was locked before, and that the host was very sketchy about not going down there. So the officers went down the stairs to investigate. Moments later, we heard voices. Raised voices.
Oh no.
There was some kind of commotion going on down there.
He's still there?
It became clear what was happening. The officers then called us down and asked if this was the host.
Let
To
me
our
see him.
horror, it was Alan.
I knew it.
He was apparently hiding in a closet in the basement.
Yeah.
In this closet was a monitor, which we could only guess was
Oh.
being fed the footage from the basement. The police seized this as well.
Do it.
Alan was placed under arrest almost immediately.
What
He
are
was
his...
charged criminally by the state for criminal trespass and invasion of privacy.
Wait, what? This isn't
He
his
didn't
house?
have to testify in court or anything. The police just sent our statements to the prosecutor, I believe. Airbnb basically bribed us with a voucher in hopes that we wouldn't share our bad experience. We took the voucher, obviously,
Yeah.
but that hasn't stopped us from telling people about this horrific experience.
Damn.
It's really been something that's had a lasting effect on Emma and I.
Aw.
We don't trust rentals or Airbnbs anymore.
I mean, you really
We
shouldn't.
just stick to hotels.
Yo, that would kinda like a bit weird at the end. If I was Alan, what I would have done as soon as they left the house, I would have immediately gone to the bedroom. I would have removed every single camera, and then I would I would burn them, I would break them, I would hide them. I would make sure they don't work. Then I would fix the smoke detector. Then I would come out of the basement. Maybe destroy the monitors as well. And then I would run away from the house, locking the basement door behind me. It's kind of weird too, why did Alan stay in the basement but leave the door wide open? Because as far as I can tell, he didn't do any work on anything. If the door was open because he was, getting out to hide evidence, then that would make sense. But as far as I can tell, he didn't hide no evidence. So why was it open? Huh? A bit confusing, but okay. Story number 3 by Anonymous. Let's do this shit. Story number 3, Anonymous.
My name is Joe, and this happened about a week ago. I live in a
Okay, Anonymous. So Anonymous. So Anonymous.
My name is Joe, and this happened about a week ago.
Okay.
I live in a 2-bedroom apartment with my roommate Eric. I didn't know him before moving in. We met through a Facebook housing group. He seemed normal enough when we first met to check the place out. He was quiet, polite, and kind of awkward.
Yeah.
But not really in a bad way.
Okay.
At the time, I thought that would be a good thing because I wasn't looking for a best friend.
Yeah.
Just someone responsible enough to help pay rents and not trash the place. For the first couple of months, it was
Everything
fine.
was fine.
We had opposite work schedules. I worked a regular 9-to-5 office job,
And he
worked at some warehouse on the late shift.
Okay.
Because of that, I barely saw him.
Good.
Most of the time when I was leaving in the morning, his door would be shut.
The
And
best
at night
kind of
when I came
roommate.
home, he was usually gone. We'd cross paths once or twice a week, usually just exchanging a few words in the kitchen or living room.
Okay.
It was nothing special, but it worked.
It shouldn't be.
Then I started noticing little things in my room that made me feel off.
What?
The first time it happened, I came home late and saw that my closet door was open.
Okay.
I usually keep it closed because I don't like seeing my clothes sticking out, but
Me
I figured
too.
maybe I had left it that way that morning. A few days later, I noticed my desk chair turned slightly toward the bed.
Nope.
I never sit in it that way. Again, I brushed it off and thought maybe I was just not paying attention.
Your bedding
Still,
messy.
it put a strange feeling in my stomach, like somebody had been in my room. One
Yeah.
Saturday morning, I was cleaning. I wiped the shelves, dusted, and then started on the window. That's when I saw it.
What?
Up in the corner, where the wall met the ceiling, there was this little black dot. I
What?
thought it was maybe a screw or a hole in the wall, but when I got closer,
Where is it?
that's when I saw it. Up in the corner, where the wall met the ceiling, there was this little black dot. I thought it was maybe a screw or a hole in the wall, but when I got closer, I froze. It was a tiny camera, a small wireless camera pointed straight at my bed. My hand shook as I pulled it off the wall. It wasn't even hidden well, just stuck with a little piece of adhesive.
Really?
It had a spot for a memory card, but the card was missing. I just stood there holding it, feeling sick. I thought about all the nights I had been in here sleeping, changing clothes,
Yeah.
even being intimate with women.
Oh.
The only person who could have put it there was Eric.
Yeah.
He
Go
was
with
the
him.
only other one with access to my room. At that moment, he wasn't home. His door was closed and the apartment was quiet.
I
I
would.
stood in the hallway,
I would
staring
go
at
to
his
his
door
room.
with my heart pounding. I told myself not to do it, but curiosity won.
You opened his
I
door.
slowly turned his doorknob and opened it. His room smelled stale,
Ew.
like old food and dirty laundry. The
God.
blinds were shut, and the room was dark, even though it was the middle of the day. His bed was unmade, and his desk was cluttered with papers, unopened mail, and change. I searched around a little, half expecting to find another camera
Nothing.
or maybe recordings on his laptop, but there was nothing obvious.
Yeah, no.
Just a messy room. I closed the door and went back to my room, but I couldn't get rid of the uneasiness.
You can't.
I decided to test him.
How?
I put the camera in my nightstand drawer under some socks. My plan was simple.
What?
If he came looking for it, then I'd know for sure it was him who planted it.
Yeah.
For 2 nights, nothing happened.
Yeah, he
I
can't
still
make it
felt
obvious.
tense, but since there weren't any signs, I started to think that maybe I was overthinking the whole thing.
How?
Then came the 3rd night. I woke up at around 3 in the morning. At first, I wasn't sure why, but then I heard a noise.
What?
It was soft, like wood sliding against wood. Then I realized it was coming from right beside me, from my nightstand drawer.
No!
I opened my eyes a little, pretending to still be asleep. In the faint light coming through the blinds,
No.
I saw a figure.
No!
It was Eric.
No!
He was standing in my room, bent over my nightstand, rummaging through the drawer where I had hidden the camera.
No!
I felt my chest tighten and my
No.
heart beat so loud I was sure he could hear it.
No!
I stayed still, not
Just
knowing
wait
what
for
to
him
do.
to know.
And then he
Just wait
stopped.
for him to know.
He froze
Don't
and just
look at
stood
me.
there, completely still.
Look at me.
Slowly, he turned his head toward my bed.
No!
He was
Close
looking
your
straight
eyes.
at me.
Close
For a
your
moment, I
eyes.
thought maybe he wasn't sure if I was awake.
No!
But then he spoke. He said he knew I was awake.
Oh,
I
God!
just run down my spine as he
Please
said
don't
that.
hurt me.
Then he asked me what I had done with it. I sat up quickly, my fear turning to anger. I demanded to know
Yeah.
why he put a camera in my room. He stared at me and told me it was because he thought I was stealing from him. I told him that was
Liar.
ridiculous, that it made no sense. I said he had aimed the camera at my bed and that it was one of the most sickest things I've ever seen. He tried to tell me he only wanted proof, but I didn't
No,
buy it.
you don't have to do
I
that.
told him he was lying and that he had been spying on me. We started yelling at each other.
Yeah.
He kept repeating that I was overreacting.
No.
I told him I was going to report him to the landlord and
Do
maybe
it.
even the police. My voice was shaking with both fear and rage. Finally, I yanked open the drawer, grabbed the camera, and held it up. I told
Why?
him that this was proof and that he was never getting it back.
He
I
did
stormed out
that
of my
you.
room, walked into the kitchen, and threw the camera straight into the garbage,
What?
thinking I broke it. I told him to stay out of my room, and that the next day I would be telling the landlord everything. At the kitchen, I yanked open the drawer, grabbed the camera, and held it up. I told him that this was proof and that he was never getting it back.
Okay. You said it was proof, so you kind of treated it like it was important, I have this piece of evidence. This is important. You're never getting it back.
I stormed out of my room, walked into the kitchen, and threw the camera straight into the garbage.
But then, but then you got rid of it immediately? Why? Yeah, that was your evidence. Why would you just get rid of it immediately? I kind of thought you would have, bring it to the landlord.
Thinking I broke it. I told him to stay out of my room, and that the next day I would be telling the landlord
I would
everything.
leave immediately.
Eric stood in the hallway with his fists clenched.
Yeah, he's a
He was just
dangerous
staring at
man.
me with a blank expression. Then he turned and walked back into his room without another word. I didn't sleep the rest of that night. I sat on the couch with the TV on, too afraid he might come back into my room.
Yeah.
Every little sound in the apartment made me jump.
Why would
When
you
the sun finally
stay?
came up, I checked the garbage can. The camera was gone.
Duh!
That was a week ago. I told the landlord what happened. He said he would look into it, but so far
What
nothing
did
has
that
been
mean?
done. Eric still lives here.
Yeah.
We don't speak, but the way he looks at me when we pass each other makes my skin crawl. It's like he's waiting for me to say or do something. I don't know why he really put the camera in my room. His excuse about me stealing
looked
was an
at
obvious
you.
lie. I don't know what he wanted to record or what he was planning to
Ew.
do with it. And honestly, I don't want to know. But every night when I lay down in bed, I can't shake the feeling that there are more cameras hidden around me. Maybe in places I wouldn't think to check. I scoured the entire room and couldn't find any, but still, the thought does linger in my mind. Last night, I was awake late and heard footsteps come down the hallway and then stopped right outside my door. For over a minute, there was silence, except for slight cracks in the wood floor outside my door from the pressure of him standing there. He stood there like a creep for a couple of minutes until I finally heard his footsteps move away from the door.
Good.
I'm looking into moving out.
Yeah.
I'm also trying to figure out if pressing charges for invasion of privacy or something is feasible.
You
Considering
could.
I didn't even think to take a picture of the camera or record the confrontation or anything. I don't even have any texts from him admitting to placing the camera there. I've got literally nothing.
Yeah.
But anyway.
That's why you keep the camera. You literally said yourself, hey, this is proof, and you got rid of it? No, you're dumb. You're so dumb. I believe that this story is fake. I don't know why it would be fake, but I don't know. For some reason, your stupidity is so mind-boggling. I have to consider that you're not real. I don't know. But, yeah, no, pretty shitty. But, yeah, no, you really have no proof of anything. But, you can't retort the confrontation because, that happened that night and you definitely weren't expecting it. I would say that the only way to really get proof is to, bait him into saying something with a wire. With my phone, retorting a confession, right? We need to talk. Whatever your name was, I forgot what your name was. Right? We need to talk. And then, hopefully he says something. Maybe you need to press him with details. I would definitely do it on your last night there. You'll see what you did that. But yeah, I don't think there was any deeper meaning to why he did it. Yeah, I don't think he was planning on doing anything to you. I think he was just planning on watching you for as long as he could. Like the guilty pleasure. I don't think he has any cameras. If he had any other cameras, he would probably know where the other camera is. And he would probably know. He probably wouldn't care about that one camera if he has others. He would just forget about it and, try to find it. Oh, another reason I think this last story may be fake is because why wouldn't he just come in when you weren't home? You have a job, so you're gone from the house at a different time than he is. All he had to do is, go into your room, find the camera, and take it. Even if your door is locked, all he had to do is, get a screwdriver or a yacht pit, and, unpick the yacht, get in, and do the exact same thing. So it's kind of weird that he didn't do that and decided to be risky and take it when you were there, right in front of you. Okay, but yeah. These three were pretty good. I liked them all. And I hope to see you guys next time for more Mr. Nightmare. Bye!